I'm Zach Phillips, and tonight we're going to be breaking down game number 13 of the Toronto Maple Leafs regular season as they drop this one to the Minnesota Wild here tonight, 2-1 in overtime, moving to 6-5-2 on the season. I want to jump out to this right away. First of all, it was the second night of a back-to-back, and we talked about last night on the post-game stream, and I said it in the pregame or game preview that we did earlier today. No excuses. There's no excuses for how you're going to play in this one. I don't want to hear it. You need to show up. You need to at least compete, find a way to be involved in this one from start to finish. Basically, the first 9 minutes of the first period, I thought that they looked slow. Nick said it best in separately. He's like, yeah, it looks like they're in mud right now. Like, there was a lot early on that left me with a little bit of frustration. And then about 10 minutes into the first period there, right after Minnesota scores their first goal, it changed and the Leafs were involved. They started to pick up the pace. They were going toe-to-toe with the Wild. So for me, I want to just get out of it right now and say, I don't think that there should be any concern with the way that they showed up and played here tonight, because that's a really good Minnesota team who has been extremely hot to start this season. They are one of the best records. I think it was second best record in the history of the Wild to open a season. Like, they are playing really, really well right now. They're playing really good hockey, and they are ready for this Leafs team to come in there. And other than really that first 9 minutes where it looked like they were just completely out of it, not that interested, tired, behind the play, whatever you want to call it. Outside of that, I think that they played a pretty good game here tonight. You lose the game, whatever. Like, you played pretty well. Ultimately, yeah, you want the point, you want the extra point. You don't want it to be 1 point, and you went to OT. It is what it is. I don't think that there's excuses for this game here tonight. I don't think they played that poorly. I think they did a really good job of shutting down Minnesota's top line. They did a really good job of neutralizing Kirill Kaprizov. Yeah, he had a couple good moments, but outside of that, it didn't feel like he was just dominating the hell out of the Maple Leafs the whole night. So I don't think it was that big of a deal from that standpoint. There are some things in the chat here I want to get on right away. First and foremost, I saw a comment. I don't know if it was just one or if there was a few others. I saw some other people kind of in the same or similar light, but Berube has lost the room. In what world would you think that Berube has lost the room? To kind of have any sort of takeaway to get you to a point or lead to a conclusion that Craig Berube has lost the locker room amongst these guys 13 games into the season, I think is an outrageous take to have. I don't think that there's any inkling that Berube has lost the room. If you want to argue that Berube does not translate to the top guys or anyone in that group, okay, you can have that argument if you want. My argument back will be, then maybe they are the fucking problem and not Berube, right? At some point, then you got to start to look a little bit inwards and say, maybe it's not the new guy that we brought on. This is not Craig Berube losing this locker room, and if they're not going to respond to him, then it's the players in the room at that point that you got to look into and look at the core and look at the main group of guys and say it's those guys who are the issue. Because I do think that they played heavy here. I do think that they were a tough team in below the goal line. They created opportunities down low. They've started to stretch things out and make it this low to high game where you're making it more difficult in the offensive zone. You're maintaining pressure for longer periods of time. This is a puck possession team. They need to be holding on to the puck for longer periods of time to get the other team to wear down in the offensive zone, the other team's defensive zone. I think that the team is adapting. I think that they're playing pretty well here. I think that they have looked decent, at least from the standpoint of transitioning to the Craig Berube style of play. I see a comment there from, where did that one just go? Piro, Berube was the wrong choice for these ninnies. Let's call a spade a spade. if that's the case, then maybe these ninnies are the wrong choice for the guys on the team. Like, that is what I would just want to put a stop to that right away. I don't think that this is the type of game you could even say that. I don't think that this is the type of game we can come on here and complain about their effort. That is a good Minnesota Wild team who plays hard, they play heavy, they finish checks, they make you feel it, and Leafs went toe-to-toe with them here tonight on the second night of a back-to-back. They played pretty good Berube hockey, quite honestly. So, wanted to put an end to that one. Second thing, Leafs obviously lose this one 2-1 in overtime. Saw immediately when I got on here and I sat down and we're getting ready to start. Stupid play by Domi. What is wrong with Domi? Why did Domi do this? Why? That's Domi's fault. Domi. Okay. I agree it was not the greatest play. I kind of think if you were to ask him, and I'm just making an assumption, if we could go into his head and ask him what his thoughts were on why he did that and chipped it out into the neutral zone, I think honestly he's just burning out. Legs are getting exhausted at that point. He's just not able to kind of carry the puck out of the zone at the pace in which he'd like. Probably thinking, I've got two other guys here with me. One of them at least will be able to help me out and chase this thing down. It's probably the wrong play, but I don't really blame him. I think those are tired legs there. Chips it out, tries to get after it, loses the race. It's not like you didn't try. It's not like there was just some like idiotic thing that went on. Chips it out. It ends up not working. To his defense there as well, blame him all you want. He's in the neutral zone when he makes that play. There is no one behind him. Like, why did both other guys change in that moment when you're watching a guy struggling with his legs to get out into the neutral zone and no one fills in underneath? Like, that's going back the other way for the Wild there on a clear-cut break. Just no support underneath. Like, there was no back support underneath. So, yes, sure, not the ideal play from Domi there for sure. A little bit of a what the hell just happened, but probably a tired decision. Where is the support? This team continues to struggle at 3-on-3s, but I don't want to deal with this whole like Domi idiot, Domi's fault conversation going on in the chat. Also, as well, Donnie does dishes. Donnie, what are we doing here? Couple things Donnie said I just want to say. Went toe-to-toe against a non-playoff team. Are you guys aware that you can just pull up standings? It's pretty simple. You can just go over to this little thing called NHL.com and find out where teams are, because Minnesota Wild right now are 8-1-2 on the season. Non-playoff team, what are we talking about? That's a pretty good team over on the other end, and I think that they shouldn't have missed playoffs last year. I think that they are going to be a playoff team this year, so non-playoff team, outrageous. And then the other thing is to say, 13 games into the season, you shouldn't be tired. Come on. 13 games into the season. It's not about how many games into the season you are. It's kind of the situational stuff. And I'm not giving them you are tired excuse here for the game. I don't think that they were tired for the game. I think that OT goal was probably a tired decision, a tired play that happens. For more content just like this, including game previews, post-game live shows, Leafs Morning Take, Monday through Friday with Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill with special guests, as well as instant reaction videos, make sure to be subscribed here to the Leafs Nation YouTube channel, turn on notifications so you don't miss anything, and drop a like.